हरे कृष्ण। जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभ यशोदानंदन व्रजजनरञ्जना जय यमुनातीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभ वरधारी गोपी जनवल्लभ वरधारी हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय प्रभुपदा प्रभुपदा शिल प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा शिल प्रभुपदा जय जय गुरुदेव जय जय गुरुदेव जय जय गुरुदेव निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर जय ओम विश्ववाद ब्रह्म स्फुर्चार्य अष्टोदशदभे चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विश्ववाद ब्रह्म स्फुर्चार्य अष्टोदश श्री श्रीमद् भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपिनाथ श्याम गुण राधा गुण गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। गंगा माय जमुना माय की जय। श्री वृंदावन धाम मायापुर धाम जगन्नाथपुर धाम की जय। कलयुग पावन नाम संकीर्तन की जय। हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय। ऑल ग्लोरीज टू सिंबल डिवोटीज हरे कृष्ण। ऑल ग्लोरीज टू सिंबल डिवोटीज हरे कृष्ण। ऑल ग्लोरीज टू श्री गुरु एंड गौरंग गौर हरि हरि हरि। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपास्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. We are reading today from Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto 63, chapter 63, verse number 38. So if devotees like, they can recite 63, chapter 38 verse. Okay. त्वमेकाद्य पुरुषो अद्वितीय तुर्यस्वदृग्धेतुर्हेतुरीशः प्रतीयस्य यथापि यथा विकारम् स्वमायया सर्वगुणा प्रसिद्धयायि। त्वम् एक आद्य पुरुषो अद्वितीयः तुर्यस्वदर्घहेतुरहेतुरिषः प्रतीयस्य यथापि यथा विकारम् स्वमायया सर्वगुणा प्रसिद्धयै। त्वमेकाद्य पुरुषो अद्वितीयः तुर्यस्वदर्घहेतुरहेतुरिषः प्रतीयसे यथापि यथा विकारम् स्वमायया सर्वगुणः प्रसिद्धया। त्वमेकाद्य पुरुषो अद्वितीयः तुर्यस्वदर्घहेतुरहेतुरिषः प्रतीयसे यथापि यथा विकारम् स्वमायया सर्वगुणा प्रसिद्धै। त्वमेकाद्य पुरुषो अद्वितीयः तुर्यस्वदर्घहेतुरहेतुरिषः प्रतीयसे यथापि यथा विकारम् स्वमायया सर्वगुणप्रसिद्धै। Anybody else? Want to read it? त्वमेकाद्य पुरुषो अद्वितीयः सूर्यस्वदर्गधेतुरहेतुरिषः प्रतीयसे यथापि यथा विकारम् सुमया सर्वगुणा प्रसिद्धै. Thank you very much. Word to word translation. Tvam, you. Ekah, one. Adhya, original. Purushah, supreme person. Advityaha, without a second. Turyah, transcendental. Swadark, self manifesting. Hetu, the cause. Ahetu, having no cause. Ishaha, the supreme controller. Pratiyase, you are perceived. Athapi, nonetheless. Yatha, according to. Vikaram, various transformations. Swa, by your own mayaya, illusory potency. Sarva, of all. Guna, material qualities. Prasiddhi, for the complete manifestation. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charanarvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation. You are the original person, one without a second, transcendental and self-manifesting. Uncaused, you are the cause of all and you are the ultimate controller. You are nonetheless perceived in terms of the transformations of matter affected by your illusory energy, transformations you sanction so that the various material qualities can fully manifest. Purport. The Acharyas comment as follows on this verse. Srila Sridhar Swami explains that the term Adhya Purushaha, the original Purusha, indicates that Lord Krishna expands himself as Mahavishnu, the first of the three Purushas who take charge of cosmic manifestation. The Lord is Ek Advitya, one without a second, because there is no one equal to the Lord or different from him. No one is completely equal to the Supreme Godhead, and yet, because all the living beings are expansions of the potency of the Godhead, no one is qualitatively different from him. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu nicely explains this inconceivable situation by stating that the absolute truth and the living beings are qualitatively one but quantitatively different. The absolute possesses infinite spiritual consciousness, whereas the living being possesses infinitesimal consciousness which is subject to being covered by illusion. Srila Jiva Goswami, commenting on the term Adya Purushaha, quotes from the Satvata Tantra, Vishnustu Trini Rupani. There are three forms of Vishnu for cosmic manifestation, etc. Srila Jiva Goswami also quotes a statement of the Lord's from Shruti. Purvam evaham ihasam. In the beginning, I alone existed in this world. This statement describes the form of the Lord called the Purusha Avatara who exists before the cosmic manifestation. Srila Jiva Goswami also quotes the following Shruti mantra, Tat Purushasya Purushatvatvam, which means such constitutes the Lord's status as Purusha. Actually, Lord Krishna is the essence of the Purusha incarnation because he is Turya, as described in the present verse. Jiva Goswami explains the term Turya, literally the fourth, by quoting Sridhar Swami's commentary to the Bhagavatam verse 11.15.16. Virat Hiranyagarbhascha Karanam Cheti Upadhya Ishasya Yatribherhinam Turyam Tadvidhur Bhuvadha. The Lord's universal form, his Hiranyagarbha form, from the primeval causal manifestation of material nature, are all relative conceptions. But because the Lord Himself is not covered by these three, intelligent authorities call Him the fourth. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, the word Turiya indicates that the Lord is the fourth member of the quadruple expansion of Godhead called the Chaturvyuha. In other words, Lord Krishna is Vasudev. Lord Krishna is Swadarga, that is, He alone can perceive Himself perfectly because He is infinite spiritual existence, infinitely pure. He is Hetu, the cause of everything, and yet He is a Hetu without cause. Therefore, He is Isha, the supreme controller. The last two lines of this verse are of special philosophical significance. Why is the Lord perceived differently by different persons although He is one? A partial explanation is given here by the agency of Maya. The Lord's external potency, material nature, is in a constant state of transformation, vikara. In one sense, then material nature is unreal, asat. But because God is the supreme reality and because He is present within all things and all things are His potencies, material objects and energies possesses a degree of reality. Therefore, some people see one aspect of material energy and think this is reality, while other people see a different aspect of material energy and think no, that is reality. Being conditioned souls, we are covered by different configurations of material nature, and thus we describe the supreme truth or the supreme Lord in terms of our corrupted vision. Yet, even the covering qualities of material nature, such as our conditional intelligence, mind, and senses, are real, being the potency of the Supreme Lord, and therefore through all things we can perceive in a more or less subjective way. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, that is why the present verse states, Pratyase, you are perceived. Furthermore, without the manifestation of material nature's covering qualities, the creation could not fulfill its purpose, namely, to allow the conditioned souls to make their best attempt to enjoy without God, so that they will finally understand the futility of such an illusory notion. ॐ अज्ञान्तिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकाय चक्षुरुं मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरू श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तां सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदां सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च नमः। ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, reading the translation once again. You are the original person, one without a second, transcendental and self manifesting. Uncaused, you are the cause of all, and you are the ultimate controller. You are nonetheless perceived in the terms of transformations of matter affected by your illusory energy. Transformations you sanction so that the various material qualities can fully manifest. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. First of all, I like to extend my gratitude to the authorities at ISKCON Chicago, Kishore Kishori Temple, and all the assembled devotees for allowing me to give me an opportunity to speak on this most profound subject matter of Srimad Bhagavatam. I'm not at all qualified, but just for my own purification, I'd like to share a few thoughts and please forgive for any shortcomings. Hare Krishna. So, what? How much time we are supposed to speak, Prabhuji? 8, 8:30. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So, we are reading from the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, and ideally, Srila Prabhupada always told us, why there are first 9 cantos. Because the 10th canto is the crescendo, is the essence of the whole Srimad Bhagavatam. And to reach the 10th canto, we have to understand the Sarga, Visarga, creation, and all the different topics so that we get sufficiently purified and we become qualified to read the 10th canto. So I'm feeling very unqualified to speak on this 10th canto subject matter. So in this particular verse, the chapter is basically entitled as Lord Krishna's fight with Banasur. So this is a very wonderful pastime where Lord Krishna is basically, if we consider Krishna is a family man also. So he's showing his affection towards his family people, especially his, son. And we can understand that I believe he's the grandson, Pradyumna, or this Aniruddha with Usha, right? So Aniruddha is his grandson, and Pradyumna his son. So this is like a personal family chapter where we can understand that Krishna is in the mood of uh, Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, and in one this chapter he is actually creating multiple moods. He is protecting his son, grandson, showing his affection towards the family, and the chapter further will also discuss about Lord Shiva. So let us try to stick to this verse today. The Lord Shiva's glorification in the previous verse has been done. Sorry, Krishna's glorification by Lord Shiva is done. Lord Shiva glorifies Lord Krishna, and I am coming from a state in India where Lord Shiva is glorified more, and that's Ujjain, where Lord Mahakaleshwar is there. And always this subject matter has been a topic of discussion, especially when ISKCON Ujjain came in 2005, and the Krishna conscious activities were more propagated in Ujjain. There was always this discussion happening, Lord Shiva and Lord Krishna. And we can understand that Lord Shiva is the greatest Vaishnava, is Vaishnavam Yatha Shambho. Initially, I also used to think that the whole world is running because of the three Dev, you know, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. Brahma is the creator, Lord Brahma is the creator, Vishnu is the maintainer, and Lord Shiva is the destroyer. This basic understanding is prevailing in lots of culture of India. And when I was young and I was in 96, I was in 10th grade, I first heard Radhanath Swami Maharaj on a Sunday feast class. And Radhanath Maharaj explained about that how Lord Vishnu is the supreme. And there are not one Vishnu, there are three Vishnus. And that's where I understood that what Maharaj is saying is true because he's a saint. So here today's verse is actually proclaiming the supremacy of Krishna as well as the original existence of anybody before the creation is of Mahavishnu. Hmm. So let us understand what the verse is talking about. Okay, so here Prabhupada is explaining in the verse that Mahavishnu is the first of the three Purushas who take charge of cosmic manifestation. So Mahavishnu is also called as Karnadaksha Vishnu, and he is the original Purusha Avatara, first one. And he is, when he inhales and exhales from his pores, universes are created, and when he exhales, so from his pores, universes are created. Inhales, all the universes go inside him. So when the universes are coming out, so there are, we can understand there are millions and unlimited universes, and each universe there is Garbhodakshay Vishnu. And from Garbhodakshay Vishnu, who's coming? A lotus is coming. And from there, Brahmaji is appearing. And then Brahmaji is getting that knowledge to do Srishti. Uh, So he's the secondary creator. Brahmaji is the secondary creator. I'll explain, give an example of computer. So if you want to, you have computer, you have hard disk, you have keyboard, you have CPU, you have so many other things, right? So when they are lying in the unassembled state, it is like Mahat Tattva. It's like the packet is ready, but it has to be activated. So Garbhodakshay Vishnu or Mahavishnu, he impregnates actually. Mahavishnu impregnates the Mahat Tattva, and the packet is agitated, right? And the knowledge is given to Brahmaji, who is the assembler, is the assembling engineer. He assembles all the parts of the computers, all the parts. So in this Mahatvata, the three modes of nature, they going, start developing various elements. So these three modes are developing various elements, and slowly, if you go into the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, and in the sixth chapter, as well as in the fourth chapter, it has been explained. Currently I am reading sixth chapter, so in that, in Purusha Shukta is confirmed. In that, in the starting 5 to 6 verses, the complete explanation of Visarga has been explained, and we can understand that how different elements are coming from the uh, modes of natures, and affected by the modes of nature, these elements are existing in the world. So when we are talking about different modes of nature, so most importantly we have to understand that the three modes, the Gunamaya Shakti of Krishna, which is acting on the living entity, is different than those three modes which have been generated before. And it is little complicated. And that's why Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says there that to understand this subject matter of creation, a person has to perform devotional service. Because when one will perform devotional service, that's where one will get the intelligence to understand this. Because there are many scientists who are trying to understand this, right? In the bygone ages, many of the scientists, they try to send different spaceships to different planets, and they're trying to understand with their small tiny brain that how this universe is formed, but it's very difficult for them. They could not understand because the root cause is they never dive deep into the Vedic scriptures. They remain superficial always in the Vedic scripture, and they generated their own speculations, and which is resulting into the backward of the human society. We may think that we are going forward, that we have sent a satellite to moon, but actually that is going backward, because in the Vedic scriptures the ways and means are given by which one can travel easily to the other planets. You don't have to spend a whole lifetime of energy to just create a satellite or a spaceship, because we are part and parcel of Krishna. Try to understand this. This is a very philosophical subject matter, that we are part and parcel of Krishna, and our potency which we are getting from Krishna is very high. So the wonders we can do in this lifetime as a human being, as a Jivatma, can you believe that elephant can do wonders? What a human cannot do it? From the human body perspective, if you compare an elephant, it seems to be a huge elephant, right? And he can lift things, he can pull out trees like anything. But with our hands, can we do that? No. That means the elephant is having the same soul, and we are having the same soul. We are the same soul, like the 110,000 depth of the air, and the elephant is also the same size. The soul is same. The soul can be in different bodies and can do different wonders. But as humans, the greatest wonder a human can do is perfect his life or her life and go back home, back to Godhead. Right? So, this is a scenario which I'm creating before starting to discuss the purport, that how it's important to understand that we cannot understand with this small intelligence the subject matter of creation, which in this verse has been glorified. The supremacy of the Lord has been glorified, explaining the subject matter of creation. And that's where uh, the Lord Sridhar Swami is saying, the Lord is indicated here as Eka Advitiyaha, one without a second, because there is no one equal to the Lord or different from him. Bhagavatam, first canto says, Ete chamsa kalapumsham Krishnastu Bhagwan Swayam. Brahmaji is confirming that he is the Adi Purush. The first verse of Bhagavatam itself, it's been explained. Janmadiyasya abhigna, and then at the end it says Satyam Param Dhimahi, that the Lord is completely a truth. Hmm? So Brahmaji is explaining, Sukadeva Goswami is trying to explain the first verse, that he is the original Purusha. Hmm? There is no one has born before him, and the same thing has been explained here by Jiva Goswami. What is said, that Lord Krishna is the essence of the Purusha incarnation because he is Turiya. So first of all, the statement given is, in the beginning I alone existed in this world. So what is this Shruti, Smriti? These are different scriptures. So Jiva Goswami is telling us in the Shruti that, what is telling? That in the beginning I alone existed in the world. Even Brahmaji in Brahma Samhita is saying, Ishvara Paramaha Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. He's saying that there is no other cause. Krishna is the original cause. And the sixth chapter of second canto, Purusha Shukta confirmed, Brahmaji is saying to Narad Muni that, Narad Muni, I am not responsible. Narad Muni is asking Brahmaji that, oh Brahmaji, please tell me, you are my father, but who is the source of yours? I certainly believe that you are the greatest, but I believe that you are worshipping someone. And then Brahmaji starts explaining all the creation. That Narada, I am not the creator, I am the secondary creator. And one more important point we can understand, Prabhupada is trying to explain us, that Lord Krishna is the essence of Purusha incarnation. Many times we are confused in our, as coming from the Indian background, we are always told that, Vishnu is the source of all the incarnations. But actually, Krishna is the essence of Purusha incarnation. Krishna is the essence of Vishnu. And this understanding is not totally clearly explained neither in any of the other scriptures as Srimad Bhagavatam. And we can understand the word Turiya has been explained here, right? So Turiya means the fourth. And wonderfully, Vishwanath Chakravarti is also explaining this word Turiya. He says that Turiya indicates that the Lord is the fourth member of the quadruple expansion of Godhead called the Chaturvyu, right? So that is where Krishna is Vasudev. Hmm? So let us try to understand with some examples that how Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. So when we are talking about Krishna, who is this all attractive, so we can understand that Krishna is not engaged in any kind of activities which are making him busy. If somebody is to be supreme, he has to be free, right? He has to be at leisure because he's supreme, he's the king. So what Krishna does is Krishna creates his energy and he engages his energy in the management of the universes and everything. I'll tell you one small story so that it will be more clear that how Krishna can be the supreme personality of Godhead. So in this scenario, Bhrigu Rishi is very famous for his anger. So Bhrigu Rishi wants to test who is great, Brahma, Vishnu or Mahesh. So he goes to Brahmaji and he says, I think you are not the greatest. And he little bit speaks harsh words. And Brahmaji becomes annoyed, angry. And he says that you are talking to me like this. So he concludes that Brahmaji is actually angry and he's not able to control his anger, urge of anger. He goes to Lord Shiva and Lord Shiva, he again disturbs Lord Shiva in his meditation and tries to, you know, speak very harshly that you are a ghost god, you're a god of ghost and you're not able to, you know, live a proper family life. You are staying in the forest. So Lord Shiva becomes angry. Then he goes to Lord Vishnu, Mahavishnu, and he hits the chest of Mahavishnu. And Lakshmi ji is sitting there. She's massaging Lord Vishnu. And what Lord Vishnu replies? Lord Vishnu says that he first gets up and pays obeisances and says that my chest is very hard, so maybe your feet might have got hurt. And Bhrigu Rishi says, Vishnu is the supreme. And then the story continues, and that's the appearance of Lord Balaji, Srinivas appearing on the planet Earth because Mother Lakshmi, she gets annoyed with the Brahmana and she says, what's he's doing? I don't want to, I want to do, I want to go away from here. And she comes to planet Earth and she becomes Padmavati, and behind her Lord Vishnu comes in search and he comes as Srinivas. So there's a beautiful story of you know the marriage of Srinivas and Padmavati. But coming back to our topic, that since Krishna is the source of Vishnu and Vishnu has been considered to be the supreme, so Krishna is the ultimate. Once upon a time, to understand this Krishna is ultimate, it's not possible through Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that even if you become a greatest sannyasi, even if you become a greatest scholar of Vedas, you cannot become, you cannot understand Krishna. Hmm? So that is another story, where actually we can understand that how devotional service is not, it is causeless. It is not a reason of, somebody will get a devotional service because somebody is too austere and somebody is too much knowledgeable. So Narad Muni, once he was passing by, and he met a Brahmana who was reading Vedas and scriptures. So Narad Muni said that, you know, what are you doing? So he said, I am reading scriptures. So he asked Narad Muni, where are you going? So Narad Muni said, I am going to the Golok Vrindavan. I am going to the spiritual world and I am going to meet Krishna. So he said, okay, please convey my regards and give my obeisances, and please ask him what he's doing. So Narad Muni went ahead. He said, okay. He went ahead. He met a cobbler. And the cobbler was asking the same questions to Narad Muni. So Narad Muni said the same thing, and Narad Muni later on went ahead. And then Narad Muni asked to Krishna that who is your greatest devotee? Or who is a person who will be able to understand you? So Krishna sent Narad Muni back to these two people, and Krishna said, go and tell him. And yeah, the third question they asked was that when I will come to you, Krishna. So Narad Muni asked that who will come first, the Brahmana or the cobbler? And Krishna said, okay, go and tell them that what am I doing? I am removing elephant from the eye of the needle. Have you seen an elephant? What is the size of the elephant? And what is the size of the needle? This much. And what is, there's a hole is very small. Can elephant go inside the eye of the needle? Not possible, right? We have tough time to make garlands, to put the thread into the eye of the needle. So here, Narad Muni goes and tell the Brahmana, and the Brahmana is bewildered, and he quotes various shlokas that how Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, and actually he has created everything, and he's so busy. He's Vishnu, and Vishnu is busy in so many hearing prayers. Basically, there are so many material social media things where people are posting that God is busy in hearing people. So he is of the same thought, and he says it cannot be possible for God to remove elephant from the eye needle. And he was like not happy. The Brahmana was not happy what Narad Muni was telling him. Narad Muni went to the cobbler and said the same thing, and the cobbler started crying. So Narad Muni said he is emotionally full, he is sentimental. But then he asked why he's crying. So the cobbler said that my Lord is the maintainer of the whole universe, but still he has nothing to do. So he's just removing an elephant from the eye of the needle. So then he said, but how can it be possible? So the cobbler was sitting under a banyan tree, and he said, I'm sitting under this tree. This tree was a small seed. When the Lord's creation can make this small seed into such a big tree, so how is not possible for him to remove an elephant from the eye of a needle? And Narad Muni understood this basic understanding that devotional service is causeless, and whatever is happening in our life, the cause is Krishna. And yesterday Gaurang Prabhu was telling us, in the class, how wonderfully he was making points that we may render devotional service for years and years, but Krishna wants us to be purified. So Krishna sends devotees in our life to purify us. If we want to stay alone and perform devotional service, the purificatory process may be slower. We may think that, oh, I am getting up, doing my sadhana, I am doing this, I am reading books, shastras. We may go into a cave. I stayed for 1 year in Rishikesh, and I met so many of the Babajis. And there is one place near the bank of Ganga in Rishikesh. It's called Swarga Ashram. And in Swarga Ashram, old people go and stay there. And they take a they and you cannot stay actually. Old people, they stay in another vicinity called Varnashrama, and there they have to pay. There's nothing free. Retirement plan is not free. But here in Swargashram, if you want to have a bhajan kutir, first you have to prove that you are a sadhu. So for that, if let's say you are not coming from a big um, contact or a network, you have to prove sadhu by staying on the ghats of Ganga. And then after staying for particular period of time, they then you get qualified to stay in that Swarga ashram. You get a bhajan kutir, and it's very peaceful, bank of Ganga. And once a boy from Mumbai came to Rishikesh, and he wanted to experience life of sadhu. So I said, go and stay at the bank of Ganga. If you want to really experience, you cannot experience by staying in a nice apartment near the bank of Ganga. So he went to the bank of Ganga and he didn't found a place to stay, asleep. All the sadhus were saying, "This is my spot. You cannot sleep here. You cannot sleep here. You cannot sleep here." And then finally one sadhu said, "Okay, for one night." So we can understand these sages are all staying in. They are great souls, of course, because they have that austerity desire. But then to achieve devotional service, it's not very much possible for them because purification is slow. And that's why Prabhupada created SCON as a movement where devotees can come together, they can interact, they can perform services, and when they perform service, what will happen? There will be gharshan, there will be friction, sweet friction. We call it sweet friction, where devotees will come together, there will be difference of opinions, there will be different thoughts. But what will be at the end of the day? Bhakti Tit Maharaj always said this, that at the end of the day, you should remember that uh, we have each other. We are dependent on each other. So whatever differences of opinions are there, whatever is there, but we have to serve together. And that's where Krishna is also presenting, the purport here is also telling that while other people see different aspect of material energy and think this is the reality. So materialistic people, when they come in association of devotees, I was materialistic, I'm trying to be devotee, but when we come to the association of devotees, we have a perspective and we start judging. And when we give up that judging mentality, then we can actually start practicing devotional service. So when I first went to Radha Gopinath temple, Radha Ras Bihari temple in Mumbai, I was what I was seeing, I was seeing the loving association of devotees, the way devotees were taking care, huh? The way devotees were interacting with each other. And then initially it was very nice, a family, and then I realized more deeply. I went into more deep. I started performing services. And I started thinking that, oh, this Prabhu has yelling on me, this is happening. But then I understood that the problem is with me, not with them. That I am carrying such a big ego on my head. And that ego is actually getting crushed. So I need more association. I need more crushing. I need more devotees to tell me what is the right thing. I may think this is the right thing. I may think that what I am doing is the right thing. We may think that we are balancing in the right way our devotional service. But it is the sadhus, the guru, and the scriptures. Sadhu, Guru, Shastra going to tell us that where we are. Right? So to understand Krishna, and it's not very difficult. It's the curtain. There is a lot of drama. A lot of drama happening. We say, there is a drama happening now. This will happen, that will happen, this will happen. But what is the drama? The drama is happening, whatever drama or whatever thing is happening in this world is actually the curtain of Maya. Kunti Maharani is praying in Bhagavatam 1st canto 8th chapter, Maya Javanika Chanam. That Krishna, your illusory energy has created a big curtain. And behind the curtain, no one is able to understand what is happening. Everyone is thinking that this side of the curtain, my life should be peaceful. But it is not possible. And what is happening? When that curtain is raised by Krishna, Krishna only can raise that curtain, right? If you go for a drama or a movie, who is going to run the movie or who is going to lift the curtain? The person who is controlling the curtain. And Krishna is the controller of the illusory energy. Prabhupada was walking on Juhu beach, and Prabhupada was walking, and Brahmanand Prabhu, 6 foot 4 inch, very heighted, strong. He was sannyasi at that time. He was walking with Prabhupada with Danda and two, three other sannyasis, Shrutakirti Prabhu, and everyone was walking. Prabhupada was in his morning walk, and Prabhupada saw a crab. Prabhupada saw a crab, and he immediately told Brahmanand Maharaj, Brahmanand, jump, catch the crab. And Brahmanand, yes, Prabhupada. 6 foot 4 inch man jumping on the crab. And then Brahmanand Maharaj got up and he said, Prabhupada, I could not caught the crab. And Prabhupada started laughing. Ha! And Brahman Maharaj was like, everyone was bewildered. Now what's going to be Prabhupada's purport? Why Prabhupada is laughing? And Prabhupada said, this is our situation. What we are trying to do is this crab is the living entity. And how could Brahmanand could not catch the crab? Because he took shelter of the ocean. So if we want to save ourselves from Maya, which is huge, whose shelter we have to take? We have to take shelter of Krishna, who is like the ocean. And that's how we can protect ourselves. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Janma karma chame divyam evam veti taktataha takta deha punarjanma neti mameti so Arjuna. He's saying that this is so Krishna is saying that this is my energy, my illusionary energy. If you want to overcome this Maya, you have to surrender to me. And that's why uh, the corrupted version, we have to remove that corruption or the corrupted version or that curtain of Maya by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Mm. And then Prabhupada says, yet even the covering qualities of material nature, such as our conditioned intelligence, mind, and senses, are real. And therefore, through all things, we can perceive in a more or less subjective way the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? So many times we may think that this world is Maya. Mayavadis, they say Jagat Mithya Brahma Satya. That this world is illusory and Brahman is Satya. The Lord is infinitely is absolute truth. But whatever is coming from the Lord is also truth. It cannot be false. It can be temporary because the Lord is just creating a magic. A magician creates a magic. It's illusory, but whatever magic he has to create is seen by people. So it's truth. So we have to understand that the manifestation of the material nature's covering qualities is not very very easy to get an understanding into our heart. We may understand from an external perspective view, but when we perform devotional service, what happens? We start engaging with Krishna. When we don't perform devotional service, we engage without Krishna. So with Krishna, without Krishna. And you can easily, I'll just tell you a real-time example. I'm preaching in University of Delaware, like catering the students out there. And one of the student, when I met him, he was really perceiving things by connection of Krishna. But then he got into bad association of some friends and he is not perceiving things with Krishna. And his behavior has totally changed and his life is disturbed and his mental peace is gone and he's not able to understand why his mental peace is gone. And another boy who is wanting mental peace and he's understanding that if he comes to Krishna he will get mental peace, so he comes for the Gita class. And the other boy who was coming for the Gita class is not coming for the Gita class. So it's very clear that these three modes of material nature are going to bewilder us. And what is the hope? Do we think that it is our strength we can do something to go beyond these three material modes of nature? No. It is by the mercy of the Lord and the devotees. When you go wrong, devotees will catch you. Prabhu, what are you doing? This is not the way. Right? So that's where when we go wrong, we have to have devotees. During the time of Corona, the most dangerous thing was death, Corona. Oh, but then we can see those devotees were passing away. They had association of devotees. So what we need in our life, what is the purpose of all this propaganda which Prabhupada has done? This whole SCON is like such a huge international propaganda of so many 9 process of devotion service. What is the ultimate thing? Is that we have someone, some devotee next to us to remind us for Krishna. Because it is not possible with our own strength that we can remember Krishna. It's very difficult. So that is what one last line I will like to share. My spiritual master always says that to understand Krishna is not possible for us, but we can always serve those devotees, those who have understood Krishna. Srila Prabhupada is one of those personalities, and many of the senior devotees, and those who have dedicated. The first offense in the 10 offenses is to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated the life for propagating the words of Krishna. So one of the biggest danger in this Purushottam month, it is always recommended, that we should not criticize devotees. We should not blaspheme anybody. So that is Vaishnava Aparadha. So Maharaj always caution us that we have to always take care of our Krishna Bhakti by not offending other devotees, not blaspheming other devotees, by tolerating the most provoking situation. And then we'll generate some humility, and we have to realize this process by service. And finally, we can understand that when we engage in the service of the Lord, we will able to understand that the Lord is sanctioning everything. Whatever has happened, sanction is done by Lord, not by this devotee or that devotee. And here also, in the fight of Banasur, fight with Banasur and then Lord Shiva, what is happening? All these things have happened because the Lord has sanctioned. I'll stop here. If anybody has any comments, questions, reflections, please share. Hare Krishna. So if no one has any comments, questions, then should we stop here? Or Prabhu wants to say something? Yeah.
Go ahead, Prabhu. I don't have a question right
Yes, Vinod Prabhu.
Thank you for a really nice class, Prabhuji. I don't have the reference in front of me, but in the Sri Namam Rita, Prabhupada describes the word Krishna, and he goes into detail, and it helped me a lot when I found this jewel. He describes the word Krishna as the whole of existence. So, the difference, the distinction between Shama Sundar, which is inside of existence, and Krishna, the whole of existence, was a very, it was a big eye opener for me to help me understand when we talk about Krishna, especially in the relationship to Vishnu. So later on, I'll try to show you that. I don't have it in front of me now, but it helps to understand.
Yeah, that's where. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for bringing out that point that Krishna is the whole, and you know, to there is one thing in Krishna consciousness is we need nourishment. So when we talk about nourishment, we may get nourishment from different activities, different services. So when we want to understand scriptures, and when we are able to get that understanding, that is like nourishment. So where you're talking about, you read that Namamrita and you understood how it is explained nicely, and that is nourishing yourself. So That is what actually is needed. Scriptures are there to nourish us. If we are reading scriptures for some intellectual understanding, or just for the process of preaching, like we want to talk, give big talks, or Prabhupada always caution us that we should avoid professional reciters. They may be eloquently speaking very nicely, but personal reading is very much important, because personal reading will bring you nourishment. When you sit and read, be with the Bhaktivedanta purports, then you will be nourished nicely. And that's how every one of us can get nourishment either by serving the person Bhagavad or the book Bhagavad, right? So this September month is coming, and it's Bhadra Purnima coming, and Shrimad Bhagavatam Prabhupada wrote painstakingly, and there was one devotee in Mumbai, in Juhu, Haridas Prabhu, and he always told that, he tells his story that how he was into some kind of robberies, but once he saw Prabhupada in Juhu, Mumbai, and he saw Prabhupada, and he saw the watch, the gold watch of Prabhupada, and he thought that, oh, I should rob this watch, and he went to the ISKCON temple, and then he became a devotee. But he could not get sleep in the night time, and his services were in the daytime, but he was tired. And Prabhupada saw that he's tired in the daytime. So he asked, Prabhupada, I used to be awake in the night time. That's my pattern of life before coming here. So Prabhupada told him, okay, will have night duty. While I transcribe Shrimad Bhagavatam, these dogs on the street, they are disturbing me. So you have to make the dog silent. So by just serving the person Bhagavad, Haridas Prabhu says that his life got transformed. He got lots of nourishment. And then he started the ITV in JewsCon, and so many other services he's doing wonderfully. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. I will make a point for myself also that I should read the scriptures for nourishment. Yeah, and we can then easily understand the subject matter. Thank you. Thank you. So we'll stop here. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, शिल प्रभुपाद की जय.